One scenario is that I was analyzing a patient with age 63. She has Parkinson's. She wore this footwear and walked for, 2 minutes. The first 1 minute was almost normal. But in the second 1 minute, her feet froze to the ground. She was not able to take the next step. After a few seconds, she started crying. During this point in time, my mind was more focused on research. I wanted to do research. The value of research shouldn't just end up as research. We need to bring something tangible out of it so that it solves a real world problem. That's how I started out. When the patient's gait is again analyzed using this device, it's very simple. Just one click, and then you get a comparison of how the gait was, how the gait is now. Diabetes has affected his foot. It's difficult for him to walk. These kind of experiences gave me the motivation. My purpose is to innovate, to reduce suffering through medical technology. So that's how I onboarded.
Entrepreneurs. It's so exciting to talk to them. Every time I meet a new entrepreneur and I listen to their story, I'm always inspired. Today, I have with me someone who started their entrepreneurship journey at just 22. And he is trying to create a path breaking product in the area of medical technology, AI based medical technology. So, Mr. Sathyanarayanan, welcome to my podcast. I'm so excited to talk to you. At such a young age, you are doing something which is changing the way neuroscience or neuro therapies or neuro cures are provided for certain conditions. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Thanks a lot for having me here, Rashmi. So I'm Sathyanarayanan, the founder and chief executive officer of bEarly's Technovations. So I'm an electronics and instrumentation engineer from Shastra University in Tanjavur. So I joined Shastra with a lot of interest to invest my time and efforts in robotics and artificial intelligence. So soon when COVID struck us, me and my professor, we thought, okay, let's shift our focus from robotics and AI and invest our efforts in AI in the field of healthcare. So that's when my journey started in healthcare AI as a researcher in healthcare AI. And now I'm an entrepreneur that's leading with purpose in the field of healthcare and AI, building a product, that's actually solving a big problem for people across the globe, a problem that has never been solved yet.
What is that problem statement that you have identified that needs to be solved?
Millions of people across the globe, they live with gait disorders. What's gait disorder? It's an abnormality in walking. This abnormality in walking can be caused by a lot of neurological, orthopedic, diabetic conditions, and so on. A few examples will be Parkinson's disease, stroke, cerebral palsy for small children, and it can also be, diabetes that can affect the foot too. Let's take the example of a patient. Suppose there is a man who is 65 years old. So he kind of understands that, the way in which he walks is not normal compared to how he used to be walking before. So he understands there is some type of abnormality in the way he walks. Or in some cases, if my mother is 65 or 70, I kind of understand there is something abnormal in the way my mother walks. So after a point in time, this abnormality in walking affects my mother's quality of life. So I take her to a general physician. So I'm not well informed to identify the type of condition that it is. It's caused by neurological or orthopedic or diabetic, I don't know. Take her to a general physician. So this general physician tries to understand that, okay, this is a neurological condition. So let's route this patient to a neurologist. So I take my mother to a neurologist. The way in which neurologists, diagnose or treat the patients now is based on their visual observations. That's one thing. Number two is about, asking the patients, what are your symptoms? How do you feel? What's the problem that you're actually facing? So they make the patients walk, understand what the abnormalities are. And by questioning the patients, they understand the symptoms. So this allows the neurologist to diagnose the condition. There are also other tests like EMG and ECG to get more details into the disorder. They also do MRI scans and all that to eliminate conditions that might cause similar symptoms. Right? So suppose the patient is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease today. The patient needs to keep coming back to the doctor, every 3 months or so in order to get the treatment optimized. Why is the treatment optimization required? These are conditions that don't have cure now. The patients need to keep going to the doctors. They need to do physical visits for the doctors to assess the patient's gait to optimize the treatment. They can only manage these conditions. So effective management is what is required now. So the gap or the problem that we're trying to solve here is visual observations. A doctor, a neurologist, they analyze a patient today visually. The patient comes back after 3 months. There is no method for them to actually have a very quantified information about how the patients have responded to the treatment. So they ask the patients. Sometimes what happens is the patient says, I've improved. The patient might not have improved it at all. The doctor understands there is deterioration, and vice versa could also happen. The patient says, I'm deteriorating, my gait is deteriorating, I have a lot of abnormalities. The doctor sees that the gait is actually normal. We've seen the situations in hospitals. The gap that we're trying to fill with our product is that, early diagnosis now it's not possible because patients themselves come to understand that, there is an abnormality in walking after it starts affecting their quality of life. And a quantified approach is not available now to detect the exact abnormalities in the patient's walking and to help the doctors track how the abnormalities have changed after treatment.
So there's a high dependency on doctors to rely on the self-diagnosis of a patient, which may impact the quality of treatment being given to the patient because the patient may not be able to self-diagnose correctly. You are bridging that gap.
I'm bridging that gap. And the other thing is, doctors also visually observe the patients. This is not trackable. They don't know how the patients exactly walked before the treatment, before 3 months, because neurologists may, actually have seen 100 patients in the gap of 3 months. So it's not that easy to remember how the gait of the patient was before treatment and how it is now. It's the visual observation that is qualitative, that's a gap. And the other thing is relying on the patients. Patients might be confused in a lot of situations. So that's the gap that we're trying to bridge.
How does a patient end up using your product? Who is your end customer?
My end customers are hospitals or doctors with clinics. Or, when it comes to diagnosing or treating a patient, suppose a patient is suspected or diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, for example. So doctors will be making the patients wear this device and walk for 3 minutes. So when a patient is suspected or diagnosed with the disease, like Parkinson's disease, they'll be made to wear this device and walk for 3 minutes. It's a very quick and simple gait analysis examination, actually. So the insole in this footwear has sensors from toe to heel. So it measures the pressure under different parts of the foot. And it's connected to a it's connected to a box outside. So inside that casing, we have 3-dimensional acceleration measurement sensors, 3-dimensional, gyroscopes, that measures the limb movement, the orientation of the limb, and transfers this live to a software application. And the data is saved on the cloud. So in the software application, we help the doctors to start and stop recording as the patient wears this and walk for 3 minutes. We help the doctors quantify different parameters of gait. There are a lot of parameters like step time, stride time, stance time, the amount of time both feet are grounded. For example, a patient has Parkinson's disease and the patient has freezing of gait. It's a symptom where, when a patient tries to walk, their feet would be frozen to the ground. That's freezing of gait. They won't be able to take another step. So we have a parameter to indicate that. It's called double support time. So we measure a lot of parameters, and we measure abnormalities in each and every parameter. If a parameter is normal, the visual display for the doctor, it'll be green. If it's abnormal, it'll be projected in red color. So the doctors may not only be able to just see this visual graphical observation. They'll be able to download a report instantly. This report will have quantified information for the doctors to have an in-depth analysis of gait in terms of parameters. Our reports are tailored with inferences for both doctors and patients. So doctors get, technical interpretation of the reports. How abnormal is a particular parameter with respect to left and right side of gait, the left foot and the right foot, right? And then we also give very simple interpretations. The side of gait is abnormal, and the reason, abnormal gait symmetry. The patient's gait is stuck on the ground. So these simple interpretations help patients understand how the abnormalities are. So when the patient comes back after 3 months, for treatment optimization purposes, when the patient's gait is again analyzed using this device, the doctors with just one click will be able to compare the two reports. So previously, the doctor had to visually see the patients, ask the patients a lot of questions. Now it's very simple. Just one click, and then you get a comparison of how the gait was, how the gait is now. So the doctors can clearly understand how the patients have responded to the treatment, and it's easy for them to convince the patient of their improvement or deterioration.
Do you have an IP on this product?
We have patented this product. So the main part that we are that we have patented for this product is its ability to detect abnormalities in gait with respect to the Indian population, because walking analysis, the data, it differs. The Indian population's gait differs from the Western population. So our algorithm is developed to detect abnormalities in gait of the Indian population and provide tailored inferences instantly for doctors to optimize treatment and patients to understand how they've responded to the treatment.
Is it already live in the market, your product? For how long it's been live in the market?
So we started our go-to-market in May 2024. So the product, we went through a phase of clinical trials because any medical product, it needs to go through clinical validation. So we started our clinical validation with Tanjavur Medical College. It's a very reputed medical college in India. And then we also worked with Rockford Neurocenter in Trichy. There is Dr. A. Veni, who's a neurologist here. He's a very renowned neurologist. So once we got the preliminary results for these products and we validated that the parameters are working fine, we then took it further to validate across India. So I'm very proud to share that product, PACE-B Gait Analysis, was validated by Apollo Hospitals, Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi, and Hyderabad, and the neurologists have been very positive about the product. Right now, our product is being used by reputed institutions like Apollo, Kaveri hospitals, SIMS hospitals in Chennai, Rela hospitals, and a lot of others. So we are now operational in Chennai, Bangalore, Trichy, and Coimbatore.
Some stats on the impact caused by your product in the patient's life or which has enhanced the doctor's diagnosis.
There was an instant, there was a patient, I think his age was around 72 or 73. The patient was visually observed by the doctor, for abnormalities in gait and all that. So as you rightly said, the treatment optimization actually completely now depends on what the patient says. The patient was actually complaining a lot of difference in abnormalities, and they were complaining that my gait was deteriorating and all that. But when we were analyzing the patient's gait, everything was normal. So what the doctor did was the doctor came out of the clinic and they made the patient walk again. So they saw no abnormality. This helped the doctor convince the patient that they've responded to the treatment well and they've actually improved, instead of what they're saying that they've deteriorated. So this is a real life example that we saw.
You're 22. I understand you embarking on an entrepreneurial journey. You could have done like 1,000 things under the sky. Why choose this? When you're launching a new product like this in the market, so much of your effort goes in education, a pioneer in, so to say, in that space. So education becomes paramount importance. You have to create a market. It's not just go find a market for it. Why did you choose to do this?
So I started out as a researcher that was working on robotics and artificial intelligence. Then COVID struck. I kind of had to shift my effort from robotics to investing the knowledge in AI in healthcare. A lot of AI enthusiasts or AI developer or data science developers, they move towards places where there's more data. So that's how me and my professor actually, let's start with healthcare because there's a lot of data in healthcare now. It was during 2020 during the time of COVID. So we started working on medical imaging and AI-based analysis. I think I was 19 at that point in time, and I was working with a very renowned radiologist over here. So our first product was actually to analyze radiology images and differentiate abnormal ones from normal ones. More than 50% of the patients that radiologists try to diagnose, the brain scans, radiologists will analyze and it comes out normal. So when we are able to differentiate abnormal ones from normal ones, radiologists will save more than 50% of their time. The productivity enhances to a large extent. That was our first product. But due to a lot of issues with respect to data confidentiality and the fact that MRI images or CT images, they're integrated with patient sensitive data. So we were not able to proceed further. The reason is that if you have to develop a product and the development itself has a huge dependency on the data that's available with only a specific type of people, it's very difficult to move forward and it's not sustainable as you scale. I was working on a parallel research based on gait analysis. We've expanded it to a large extent now, but the preliminary research was based on, how we analyze gait patterns and differentiate the normal ones from abnormals. That was the initial focus. This is when the journey got really interesting. I had the chance to meet with Mr. Shankar Narasimhan, who is the technical head of SAR Foundation. It's an NGO in Chennai that helps Parkinson's disease patients battle it. So Shankar Narasimhan himself lives with Parkinson's disease. And he was the first person that I actually spoke about Parkinson's. I kind of got an emotional connect with how the life of a patient, deteriorates when they have Parkinson's and the impact that it has on the family members. During this time, I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Vijay Shankar, who's a reputed movement disorder specialist from Apollo Hospitals. He asked me a simple question. Okay, your focus is early diagnosis of gait disorders. That's amazing. It's a long-term focus. Can you develop a technology that can quantify parameters of gait before and after treatment? That was the question that he had. During this point in time, my mind was more focused on research. I wanted to do research. I wanted to publish papers, go abroad, do an MS, work for a big MNC. That was all that was in my mind. But once my research started getting more traction, kind of understood the value of research shouldn't just end up as research. We need to bring something tangible out of it so that it solves a real world problem. That's how I started out. As we were doing clinical trials of this product, I saw a lot of patients. Clinical trials, you analyze patients with Parkinson's, you analyze patients in stroke. You get a real experience of how their life is. You get the opportunity to speak with their caregivers who explain to you how difficult it is for them to manage the patients. One scenario is that I was analyzing a patient with, age 63. She has Parkinson's. She wore this footwear and walked for, 2 minutes. The first 1 minute was almost normal. But in the second 1 minute, her feet froze to the ground. And she was not able to take the next step. After a few seconds, she started crying. Me and my colleague who were analyzing the patient, we got really emotional and it was very difficult for us to see that. Then we eventually stopped the analysis. So this actually gave me a motivation to solve a real problem that exists in the real world and not just do something, that'll help me earn money. So that was the initial impact that I had when it comes to medical image diagnosis or developing a medical device that helps doctors diagnose patients and improve their treatment effectively. I also have close family members that live with Parkinson's. I've seen how my family suffers. Not just Parkinson's. My close family member has an issue with diabetes because diabetes has affected his foot. It's difficult for him to walk. These kind of experiences gave me the motivation to identify my purpose. My purpose is to innovate, to reduce suffering through medical technology. So that's how I onboarded.
I also am curious to know what are the other real life use cases product like this. To me personally, in my head, I can think of many. But I'm curious to know what are the other areas that you feel be benefited with this kind of product that you're building.
Our initial focus has been to create value for patients who live with neurological gait disorders. Neurological conditions that affect their walking. As the next step, focus is to move forward and expand the ability of a product, the capability of a product from neurology and physiotherapy to neurosurgeons who can optimize their surgical interventions according to how the patients have responded to the surgical intervention. Suppose there is a surgical protocol called deep brain stimulation. Before and after DBS, if the neurosurgeons analyze patients for the gait abnormalities, they can understand which parts of DBS can be optimized to improve their gait. Suppose there are a set of parameters before DBS that are abnormal. After deep brain stimulation, there are a set of parameters that are abnormal. The neurosurgeon actually sees how these abnormalities before have reduced now, or if it's worsened now. This helps them, provide the patient with right kind of parametric optimization so that their gait improves.
Could it be possible that one day people recovering from sports injuries would be able to use this to maybe recover back to 100% as what they were more efficiently?
This falls under the head of orthopedics. A sports person who's had an injury in his leg. Orthopedicians now will analyze, they'll put the patient under the right medication or treatment or the right intervention in terms of surgery. And then right now, it's again visual observation and what the sports person would say in terms of improvement. But this product can give the orthopedicians and the sports person a quantified insight into how they have improved over time. That's our next version. It gets into their footwear. During the everyday life, as the sports person does his day-to-day tasks, as the condition progresses or as he improves, the orthopedicians will be able to detect the improvement, to identify how much is improved and what type of intervention, if at all it's required, to improve him faster. So this is one use case. Next big version for us is a prescription medical device version of our product, which will be integrated with artificial intelligence. So right now, the patient, as I said, needs to keep going back to the doctor every 3 months in order for a physical assessment to improve their gait. But The next version, the prescription medical device version of our product, PSB, will be an insole that will be integrated with every single sensor that we need to integrate it with. Suppose a patient is suspected or diagnosed with Parkinson's disease today, they'll be wearing this in their day-to-day life as they do many activities. So doctors will be able to get continuous monitoring-based information to understand how the patient's gait changes as they do their day-to-day tasks. Suppose the patient gets up in the morning, has their breakfast, they take the Syndopa medication, which improves their neural activity. From that point in time till the point in time when they go back to sleep, how the gait is changing. This will give the doctors more information to effectively optimize the treatment over the air. They need not wait for the 3 months to optimize the treatment. They can optimize over the air.
Is it also possible that, for example, if my father had Parkinson's, I suspect that maybe I could get it because my father had, my grandfather had. After the age of 55, I can myself choose to wear this, connect it to a smartwatch, and if I feel there is consistently some problem, immediately take a precautionary measure of meeting a neurologist. Is that a potential use case as well?
Our long-term vision is to detect complex gait abnormalities during its onset, with PSB acting as a normal part of people's day-to-day wearables. We start with general processes and tracking where the PSB insole, the PSB-powered insole, can be connected with your mobile phone through a Bluetooth application. And you'll be able to monitor your gait on a day-to-day basis like you have the Apple Watch. Apple Watch cannot accurately detect gait because it's not meant for gait analysis. It can detect few parameters, obviously. So our product in the long term can detect gait abnormalities by being a part of your insole, a part of your footwear. So suppose there is a person who has Parkinson's today. The onset of the disease starts today, and then it starts worsening. Right now, only when it starts impacting your life to a good level, you'll understand that there is something abnormal with your gait, right? But with a PSB powered insole or a PSB powered footwear that you're wearing, as your gait starts deteriorating even a bit, it'll provide you with an indication for you to understand that there is something abnormal happening.
Especially diabetes, India becoming a diabetic capital. If people have an option like this to start self-analysis for themselves to ensure that their quality of life is going to be good for a really long time, especially walking. Mobility is a very big challenge, right?
Yeah.
What would you do if you're stuck in your own body?
Yeah.
I think that would be really nice. But again, then education is a big factor for you.
When it comes to a new product, creating a new solution for a problem that has not been solved yet, even across the globe, you need to first start with, identifying your early adopters. You need to take your product, give it for trials for the patients of certain doctors who are reputed in an industry, who are forward-minded to adopt new technologies. So they will actually analyze their patients. Understand how the product is working. They'll provide you with feedback to optimize the treatment. So then, based on the set of early adopters that are using your product, you can use this as a base of users, and build upon it by going to other neurologists or other physiotherapists in that segment and explaining to them that this product actually works and it's been working for a reputed neurologist before. So the word of mouth spreads. And in our industry, one very positive thing is that the network of doctors is very strong. They're well connected. So 2 to 3 really reputed neurologists using our product will create a very good impression about our product, and we can expand faster. That's how we actually initiated this whole go-to-market. So as I was mentioning, Dr. Vijay Shankar, who was a person involved in our product research right from the beginning. So we made him validate the product with his patients, and once it was very positive from him, the feedback was very positive from him. We then took it to other neurologists. And because of Dr. Vijay Shankar's name, our product gained a lot of reputation. And then that's the way for scale.
Satya, building something like this cannot be easy. You said that as an advice to students, you said, you have to be supportive of them because words can make or break you. But taking up such a hurricane task could not be easy. Tell me what drives you. Who is that backbone, that team which supports you?
I mean, right from the early days of engineering, I've got a lot of support from a university. The professors of Shastra University, Dr. Manikandan, Dr. Anuradha, Dr. Narasim, and Dr. Ramkumar. These people have been very supportive of my research innovations and all that right from the beginning. So Shastra has a great infra in terms of the technology business incubators that they have. They have ableist and they have first. So it's very difficult for a person who's just starting out without any industry experience to get that level of mentorship, industry connection, support, and even funds. So through Shastra, I got connected to the former managing director of Homegrown, the former chief executive officer of Airtel, and a venture capitalist from US. And he's our lead investor now, Mr. Sriram Sundararajan. So through Shastra, I've also been able to tap into the funds that are available in the government of Tamil Nadu, government of India. So, we have raised funds from Entrepreneurship Development and Innovation Institute of Tamil Nadu, the Department of Science and Technology in terms of Nidhi Prayas, and the Startup India Seed Fund. So, as we started scaling our company, the support, was extended from Shastra, and the support from the clinical community was immensely valuable. Dr. Venkatraman Karthikeyan, who's a part of our team, he helps us, work very closely with him, with the clinical community to optimize our product so that the friction of usage becomes lower over time. So I also got connected to my co-founder through Mr. Anantharaman, who's a former CEO of Airtel, who's one of our advisors. So Arvind Balakrishnan actually has an MBA from IIM Calcutta, and he has 17 years of experience in sales and marketing in huge companies like Amazon and Walmart. As he said, when you lead with purpose, you will actually truly find people that align their goals and vision according to the vision of the company, because you are focused on something that's positive, that creates positive impact in the lives of people. And you'll be able to bring in people that align their goals with the goals of the company, their vision with the vision of life.
I wish you all the luck. I think you've taken up a very Herculean task at a very young age. But talking to you right now, I also believe that you really can make this something which a consumer can use to make his quality of life better. And I really hope you earn a lot of money. I mean, not to be crass, but earning money validates your efforts, right?
Exactly.
So I really hope you do. At the, while closing this episode, I want to know what would you like to share for aspiring student entrepreneurs who want to start off young? Would you like to share something?
People around you, they either make you or break you. It's very easy to say, it's about how you react to the situation, that actually alters your emotions. But you can't explain that to an 18-year-old, 19-year-old. So it's very important to actually work on something that is well aligned with your purpose. So you need to find your purpose first. And I was reading The Startup Code by Mukesh Bansal yesterday, and it was rightly mentioned in that book that you'll need to find your purpose. You need to start with why, and like Simon Sinek says, you need to start with why, then how, then what. Some people, even my juniors, when they tell me that, they want to start a startup, the question is why. It's not as lucrative as it looks. There are a lot of challenges. The only way to actually, handle these kind of challenges is you need to find your purpose and then drive with that purpose. My purpose is innovation to reduce suffering. You'll go through a lot of situations where you go through a lot of dark phases and you don't know what's happening around you in terms of entrepreneurship. Leading with purpose helps you understand why you're doing what you're doing. So that'll lead the way for you. So it's very important to find your purpose. And I urge a lot of youngsters, to find the real purpose of your life and align that with your passion so that you do something that means really for you and you can handle those challenges really well.
It's so heartwarming to hear the power of startup cells in colleges in Tamil Nadu. It's amazing, and I hope more and more students can tap into these kind of startup cells and benefit at an early age. This is relatively new, college startup cells. I know IITs and all have it, but for every college to have it, it's amazing. It opens up so many doors of opportunity for so many students from any tier of city. It's amazing to hear this. Okay, thank you, Satya. Thank you for coming here. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to be sharing Satya's email ID. If you are an aspiring student, please reach out to him. And I'm sure he'll be able to share his knowledge with you as a student who has reached this part so far in his entrepreneurial journey.
Thanks a lot, Rashmi. I'm open to helping out anyone, mentoring them to handle the challenges that entrepreneurship actually poses to you as you scale. It was amazing having a discussion with you. Thanks a lot for having me here.
And remember, we are going to be meeting 1 year down the lane.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of more traction, a lot
Yes.
of more people.
A lot of more stories and success stories to share.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.